Hello and welcome to the final episode of the Doug Geiser Show for the 2024 spring season, brought to you by the Ashland University Journalism and Digital Media Department. I'm Miles Irvin, and as usual, I'm joined by the head coach of the Eagle football team, Doug Geiser. Coach, thank you so much for sitting with me here
I appreciate it. Thank you, Miles.
Coach, this episode of the Doug Geiser Show will revolve all around the 2024 spring season. First off, before we jump into things, let's do a quick recap on the signing day the team had back in February. What are the numbers looking like for incoming freshmen?
Incoming freshmen right now, I believe we're right around 78 newcomers, and that'll be true freshmen. There's also a couple junior college gentlemen that have committed to us recently, so we're pretty happy with it. We'll probably end up 80 to 85 here.
When looking at the weight room training, what has been the mindset of the team, and who has really stood out as a workhorse?
We had a really good winter cycle in the weight room, and a lot of guys. We kind of track it as how many guys set PRs, and so personal records. We had a number of guys set PRs and made some great progress. It's especially always exciting to see the young guys, the freshmen especially, coming in and how they start changing their bodies, and then you really get excited for spring practice to see the carryover onto the field. So as far as guys that stood out at that point, I would think one of the newcomers, Bryson Getz, had a tremendous winter, and he is really made his mark at the defensive line position. He's already one of the stronger members, and he's only a true freshman. So I'd say he's probably one guy I'd recognize.
A few weeks back on 88.9 WRDL, you mentioned that the team has had the ability to work with Dr. David Venata on campus to help with diets. Has that been a big focal point this spring?
It's something we try to incorporate every year. Dr. Venata is very talented and very experienced. And he performs some duties for our team as far as just getting us on the right track. So we actually brought him in to speak to our team last week and just kind of addressing what the dietary needs should be, what they should be thinking nutritionally as we get out of spring practice into the summer, and then as we get into spring training camp in August, which will be here pretty soon, kind of things they should be thinking. So give him some guidelines, and he has been very valuable as far as a member of our team.
When looking at the coaching staff, does the spring present an opportunity to reset and take a look at what went right and wrong in the fall?
What we do is after signing day, our coaches will basically do a self-scout, a self-evaluation of the season before spring practice. And at that time, what went well, what didn't, exactly what you were talking about at that point. They'll also make some trips to kind of research maybe some things that might fit us that we want to try out in spring practice. So in spring practice for us is not only a learning opportunity for the young guys, it's also for the coaches, it's a laboratory. And seeing how we can expand the package to something maybe new and unexpected that the opponents might not be prepared for, and get a chance to see it in as live a situation as we can.
Now, obviously, with the team having an opportunity to compete in spring scrimmages, you get a chance to address how the team is looking ahead of next season. How, from your view, is the team looking through the opening two scrimmages?
Through the opening two scrimmages, I think in a lot of respects we're ahead of some things we had at this point last year. You look first and foremost, special teams were really important to us last year in changing the game. And I think we're definitely beyond where we were preparation-wise from last year, both fundamentally, technically, and also scheme-wise. We didn't do a lot of scheme stuff last spring. We've already progressed to that right now. So the understanding, I think, in the player's mind as far as what we're trying to get done schematically is light years ahead of where we were last year at this point. For our offensive and defensive coordinators, Tim Rose and Tom Stacy, they have a little better sense of who they have, especially offensively at this point with Trevor Bycznski coming back as a returning starter. The offense is light years ahead as far as we now know what he can do and where his comfort level is and how to put him in good situations. So in that respect, the offense is further ahead. And defensively, you got to replace a couple guys. You got to replace a guy like Jackson Myers first and foremost up front. And we've liked the guys that have come in. Ben Holzapfel's had a tremendous spring. So in that respect, it's kind of overall, it's great to see the level of understanding really increase. And there's a lot of light bulb moments, especially for the young kids in spring practice. They're just looking to hang on when they come in last August, and because we're already getting ready for the first game. So that's the neat thing for me as a coach, is seeing how much they progress just in that respect, because now it allows their talent to show through.
Now, with the need to replace some big seniors on both sides of the ball, who has stepped up to fill those newly found voids?
I would say as you look at the receiver positions, we lost some really good players. Desmond Libertus, Jake McLaughlin. Okay, Jen Joseph really came on at the end of last year, and he has really built on that this spring. It's neat to see his confidence level just being sky high right now, and more important, the confidence level of the quarterback in Gent is really, really important. At the running back position, we graduated our top 3. Really good players, Larry Martin and Giovanni Washington and Eli Potts. Pat Bluebaugh picked right up from where he did in the bowl game. We rushed for 100 yards. And he's really being pushed by Ty Stevenson and Olanda Kamara and Anthony Dema. So it's really been exciting to see in that respect. We talked a little bit at linebacker, with Ben Holzapfel. At the other linebacker position, Amir Cunningham has had a tremendous spring. So is Jack Talkington. So it's going to be really, really exciting for us to see, who ends up, claiming that role. They're all going to play, but who's going to claim that role as the starter? And then I would say probably you look at corner. Devin Prude has had a really good spring for us at a corner. He's back to being a lockdown corner, and that's exciting for us in our pass defense.
Now, lastly, Coach, with the final spring scrimmage coming on this Saturday, April 20th, what are some things you hope to see with this team?
Well, what we're going to do, we actually just held our draft 1 hour ago. And so we divided the captains up. They drafted the team. They drafted coaching staff. They drafted support staff. So we are going to play a true purple and gold scrimmage. Myself, as a head coach, I'm the only guy that was not drafted. I am Switzerland. So I'm going to come out a winner no matter what. I'm on the winning team. You'll see me on the winning sideline. But and after 14 practices, our last one being tomorrow, it's nice to be able to let the guys go out and just compete in the game they love. Make it base offense, base defense. Let them go out and play. There is a prize for the winning team. They're getting shirts. Okay, great. The losing team's getting nothing. Yeah. But more importantly, it looks like we're probably going to maybe give the winning team a get out of conditioning free card maybe once during training camp. So that's been actually the more popular prize amongst that. So it'll get pretty heated this Saturday at 1 o'clock.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you sitting down with me here today.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
We will take a break and join you back here shortly to sit down with quarterback Trevor Bycznski. Stay tuned. You're watching the Doug Geiser Show right here on AUTV. Welcome back to the Doug Geiser Show. I am currently joined by quarterback Trevor Bycznski, who started for the team this past fall. First off, thanks, Trevor, for sitting down with me here today.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me back.
To hop straight into things, how has this offseason gone for you so far, both on and off the field?
So far, so good. Off the field right now, I'm planning for a wedding. On the field right now, I'm trying to be a leader for the guys, both guys returning and some of the new guys that are coming back as first-timers in positions and trying to help them get their footing.
Earlier, we talked with Coach Geiser about the loss of some seniors. How on the offensive side of the ball has that affected you and the team?
It's affected the team just because those guys are gone and new guys have to fill those roles. It's given an opportunity for new leaders to emerge and for young guys to step into a new role that they didn't have in the fall just because those positions were filled. So it's a good opportunity for everyone.
When looking at the spring from a player perspective, what are some of the main goals for the team?
As a player in the spring, we like to look at the why of things are done. In the fall, you're really worried about planning for Saturday and the opponent and just trying to get what works best for them. In the spring, you look at yourself and how to get better and what we're running and the schemes and everything that goes into that. So really getting the wrinkles ironed out as much as you can, looking at the little details of certain plays and all that kind of stuff.
Who do you think has stood out as someone stepping up this spring?
I think all of the guys who have come into new positions for the first time or just the guys changing positions have done a great job of going full force into it, not being hesitant with asking questions. I think we've done a good job of progressing throughout the spring to where we are now. But like Coach said earlier, we're not ready to play a game now, but we'll definitely get there.
And now you'll have a full year in the Eagles system. How has this helped you to get more comfortable heading into the 2024 fall season?
Yep, of course. So that that goes back to what I said previously about looking at the small details of things. Being able to have that year under my belt, I can go to guys and find different wrinkles and different little quirks or something like that to like get the best out of a player, maybe change this route here or there, tell them I'm going to throw it in this spot, or tell guys what I'm thinking when I look at the defense to help get everyone on the same page.
Now, the team was able to take home a win in the America's Crossroads Bowl game in the fall. Has that left the team with a drive to find more success next season?
Of course, and I think ending the season on a win, no matter the game, is a positive because you can build off that for the next year. And it being the school's first bowl game appearance and win just gives it that much more motivation to keep going.
With plenty of spring scrimmages to evaluate certain positions and areas to address heading into next year, how have these helped the team?
You know, I say the spring game scrimmages are as real as it gets without the pressure that comes on fall Saturdays. You might make a mistake, but it's not the end of the world. You'll watch film and get better, and that's what spring's all about.
Well, Trevor, it was a pleasure being able to sit down with you, and good luck in the next spring scrimmage.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
When we return, we will be joined by defensive tackle Collin Strong to discuss the defensive side of the ball and how the spring has gone thus far. Stay tuned right here on AUTV. Welcome back to the Doug Geiser Show. Now I am alongside defensive tackle Collin Strong. Collin, thanks for joining me here today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Now, this past season, the defense as a whole really thrived. For starters, how is the defensive line looking through the winter and now into the spring?
I think we're looking really good. I mean, we realistically have about 4 starters returning. Like, we have 2 guys on the field in the interior, but realistically, we split the reps right down the middle. We got 4 guys coming back, which is really encouraging. Guys that are still pushing in the weight room. We're getting better continually. And what's especially encouraging are the young guys. 4 freshmen in a room and a sophomore that have all made leaps and bounds. Coach Geiser was talking about Bryson Getz in the weight room. Huge numbers he's putting up. Looking good, working his hands well. Same thing with Tyler. Yeah, very encouraging.
One big factor for the defense this past season was the seniors. With a lot of them graduating, how is the team feeling as you guys look for new guys to step up?
Yeah, you know, Jackson Myers probably being the biggest one that we're graduating. You know, Chris Julian, another huge factor on the edge. There's always like that point, like you're not going to replace Jackson Myers completely, right? You can't make up for his production on the field with just one person, right? And so collectively as a unit, we need to come together, band together, work hard, and we're going to make up those productivity points that he would have made. And right now with the linebackers, I think it's looking really, really good. Jack Talkington's flying around. You know, Ben played in the fall. Same thing with Amir. Guys that are looking really good. Same thing with guys on the edge. Some freshmen really stepping up too. Yeah.
With the winter being a big time for weight room work, do you guys continue that level of intensity into the spring, or does it shift to more on the field work?
Yeah, so we do to an extent. We take about 15 to 20% off our lifts on our legs. We don't squat very heavy, working speed with our power clean, snatches and all that. But we're going to still push the bench press because we can get away with that a little bit. So guys still, throughout the spring, they're putting up bench numbers that they've never put up before, which is really encouraging. So we're pushing it, taking it a little bit easy on the legs so we can run around and play a little bit faster. Yeah.
How do the spring scrimmages help to prepare the team for what to expect in the fall?
Yeah, for sure. Like we were talking about, we got a lot of young guys, a lot of young linebackers too. Those guys are like the quarterbacks of the defense. And it's really useful getting them live reps, just having the pacing of a game that they don't normally get in a practice. So allowing them to feel the speed of the game while understanding, you know, between the plays, what we expect from them, what they expect from us, you know, what the back end is expecting, and vice versa. So getting them live reps and knowing what to expect from a game situation is huge.
Now, from a coaching standpoint, one of the big talking points is always defensive coordinator Tim Rose. How does his experience help to guide the defense?
Coach Rose is awesome. I played for him for a little bit now, and he's forgotten more football than I would ever hope to learn. Like, he's football genius, and one of the most important things about being on a defensive football team is you need to be able to buy in to the scheme that the coach has put forth, right? And I trust every fiber of my being that if I'm where I need to be, everything else is going to fall into place. And there's no one that gets me more psyched up to play football than Coach Rose. Like, if he asked me to run through that wall over there right now, no hesitation, I'd do it head first. That wall's going down. But yeah, I love playing for that man.
Now, in the fall, you guys were able to find a lot of success, but did fall short of an appearance in the NCAA playoffs. Has that created a deeper dive for the team heading into next season?
It does, especially some of the older guys. I think the 22 season was when we went to the playoffs. We've tasted that, we have that taste in our mouth. We know what it takes to get there. Coming up a little bit short of that this year, we want to get back, right? The goal is always to win a national championship, and that's what we're shooting for. But yeah, we're working very hard to get back to the playoffs.
With plenty of spring scrimmages to evaluate certain positions and areas to address heading into next year, how have these helped the team from your point of view?
Yeah, I think the big thing is just experimentation. That's what the spring is about, trying new things, putting people in positions they haven't been in before. Like, we need to figure out who we can put where, who's going to excel when the pressure's put on, and I think we're finding those guys right now. We can move people around, we can have them excel where they are, but we can also have them excel somewhere else. And we're trying out new scheme as well, things that we haven't really worked a ton, but are working back into the fold of things. Yep.
Well, Colin, that's all we have for today. Thank you so much for joining the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Now it's time to wrap up the show with Coach Geiser as we take a look at the 2024 schedule and close out today's episode. Coach will join us after these brief messages. You're watching the Doug Geiser Show on AUTV. Welcome back to the Doug Geiser Show, right here on AUTV. Coach, it's time to wrap up our spring special of the Doug Geiser Show. It has been a pleasure to have you on AUTV all season long. How are you feeling as a whole heading into the rest of the spring?
Well, we'll wrap it up this Saturday at the spring game. We wanted to invite everybody to come on out and check us out at 1 o'clock, get a preview of the Eagles for 2024. I like the progress we've made. And the most important thing, though, is we're not ready to play at this point. We've got 2 more important training blocks for us. We got intercession in summer and then training camp in August. So I like where we are heading into them, but there's still work to be done.
Now, as we shift gears to the 2024 campaign, we do have an early look at the upcoming fall schedule. Let's take a look. When you see what's coming up, are there any big contests that stand out that you are hoping to see big crowds get to?
Well, if you're a loyal watcher of this show, you know that usually I only talk about the next game. So I'm going to amend that a little bit today. We do open up with 2 of the best teams in the country, IUP and Ferris. We enjoy playing the best teams in the country. We look forward to that, and it allows us to get a real good handle on where we are going into the season. If you have weaknesses, they'll be exploited, but you have a really true sense of what you have team-wise heading into that. And then you look at that right there, and you have 4 of the top teams in the GMAC, right out of the chute from there. So it's more than anything else, just like last year, we got to be hitting on all cylinders heading into week 1. And last year, we stubbed our toe early. And we have a lot of guys back that played in those games, and I think they understand now that you can't lose your focus in key points of the game. If you have a team down and you're ready to win the game, you can't let them back in. You can't let them win the game on their end. So that portion right there, hopefully that recognition there will help us as we go into the season. But really and truly, the success we'll have this fall will really be a testament to the leadership that has come into the team that we are replacing from last year. We graduated 9 or 10 really good leaders, and the leaders that have taken their place will really, really set the tone for us as we go into IUP Week 1.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining me here today. Any final thoughts for the audience?
Final thoughts, once again, thank you to the group and the staff here. It's made this job very, very easy for me. And so I really, really appreciate that. And hey, I want to invite everybody out to come out and check the Eagles this fall.
Well, Coach, thanks again.
Thank you.
That was today's spring episode of the Doug Geiser Show. With signing day over and spring scrimmages coming to a close, the team next looks to shift gears in preparation for summer practices in the 2024 fall season. All information regarding the team can be found online at ashland-collegian.com under the football tab. And special interviews with Coach Geiser will be on 88.9 WRDL all season long on Friday mornings next fall. I'm Miles Irvin, and thank you so much for tuning into the Doug Geiser Show right here on AUTV.